All right, what's going on YouTube? I wanted to do a video today covering quadplexes. Now, what a quadplex is it is a single building dwelling, and it has four separate units. So it's like, almost think of like a row home, but it's all under one roof. So you have four separate units. So you could potentially live in a unit, you could rent out the other three units that are in the building, or you could just buy it and rent out all the units to separate tenants. If you're going to be thinking about this, think about a duplex. You know how it's like a one house, then there's one, and then there's the other side. We'll just double it. So think about that as a quadplex being like that. So getting into the advantages of why we would want to get a quadplex, and you could even get a quadplex as your first rental property because of this reason, and it is the conventional loan. So if you go above four units, that will qualify for commercial loans. But if you stay 4 units and under, you'll be able to get a regular conventional loan, which means you might only have to put 3.5% down. So the advantages of putting only 3% down is that you can get a fairly expensive home for cheap, and then you can rent out the other 3 units, and then you'll be able to cover most of your mortgage, principal, and interest. A great benefit of this as well is because you're also going to be able to gain equity in the home while living in one of the units. So you are going to have a unit to yourself, so it is going to be a separate living space. So, you can invite people over. You won't be living in the exact same dwelling as the other people that are in your home. They're going to be paying everything down for you, and then you are going to be able to gain equity in that home over time in a more expensive property than you would be able to afford by yourself if you had not had renter. Most people that do these quadplexes, they're able to get about $200 extra every month, so you are technically getting paid to own this home. Something that's really great that I actually just learned about too is that you can only qualify for 10 conventional loans on single family properties, so that means you can only max out with 10 houses, right? So if you were able to do this with quadplexes, you'd be able to get 40 units. Because if you're able to do 10 quadplexes, it's going to be 40 units versus 10 regular single-family homes, it's going to be 10 of them. So you are going to be able to gain a little bit more in your portfolio if you decide to do it that way. Talking about property management and whatnot, this is going to be easier to do, especially if you live in one of the units, because they can just call you, you can just run right over. It's like a building that is, a unit that is attached to yours. It's not like you're going to have 10 single-family homes all over the map where you're going to have to get property managers for, and then you potentially might have to drive miles and miles and miles in order to just change a light bulb or something like that. So these quadplexes might be a little bit more expensive than single-family homes, but if you think about the money you're going to be able to leverage by getting people to rent with you, then you are going to be able to, sort of accelerate your process in the real estate game. So it does become a very good idea to do if you have the means to do it. Always just make sure that you have enough cash and reserves when you are buying it, and then you account for vacancies so that when people, when they come into when you buy the property, you do want to have enough cash on hand to account for vacancies so that you actually can pay the mortgage and whatnot on your own if you had to. That is it. That is why a quadplex becomes a very important piece of real estate that you can get your hands on rather easily. Just make sure to connect with your agent, let them know that that's what you're looking for. Set a broad radius because they actually are pretty rare, and then be open to new opportunities, foreclosures, those kind of things. So get creative and you'll be rewarded for it.